Well, hello YouTubers. I thought I'd do a video today. Sunday, December 7th. Please take a moment and remember those for this particular day. And the start of what got our nation into World War II. But anyway, please give that a moment of silence. Think of those who served. Okay. Onward and forward. Let's do a little video on the LSMT 468, aka the Smurf, as I like to call it. As you can kind of tell, yep, I've got it ready to push snow. Once again this year I've got the Earth and Turf snow blade clamped on the loader bucket, and yes, I have the piece of plastic PVC pipe over my cutting edge. I never know why you're doing that for. To kind of protect the edge where it's going to hit on the loader there and over there. Do I need to? No. But I'm trying to save the edge so it doesn't have a dull spot right there. And the other thing, you're going to be probably asking again, why in the world do I have a chain going from that hook and around and under and back up and held on with a ratchet boomer? Take tension out. Once again, I have learned through having clamp on and bolt on forks for moving round bales over time. If you're relying on this out here to support all that weight of the round bale, even this has some weight to it. Eventually that end of the bucket's going to start sagging. So to try to prevent that, I run the chain around to try to make it to where when this loader is up off the ground, the blade's up off the ground, the weight is supported more by this back here, this point back here on the bucket. Takes a little bit of the weight and stress off the end of the bucket where the cutting edge is at. For those who want to know why. And yes, once again, we have hooked up to the Econoplow Model 6+6 McKee snowblower, two-stage snowblower. We are hooked up to it. So snow drifts can be a little deep, and I can at least, if I ain't piling it, I can hit the snowblower and throw it up over the ditch banks and everything else and be done with it. Okay, on to something else that I just ironically watched a video about, and I'll try to put a link to his video up here. But I know some of you like him, some of you all like him, other of you can take him with a grain of salt, but Tractor Mike on his video YouTube channel just happened to mention recently about buying a tractor and then have the dealer go out of business. Well, outright kicking the nads. This dealer, I just figured out and found out this week, has went out of business. Now, they was the closest LS dealer ship to my location. And so that was one reason why I went with them as a alternative for a tractor. Now I know, for you all nail me in the comments about should have bought this brand or this brand. Remember, this could be, I know they struggle a little bit. I even said something about that in my other videos, but the LS company kind of struggling a little bit to get themselves sure-footed in the United States. So, yeah, they're not the big four of tractor dealers. They're not Case IH. They're not New Holland. They're not John Deere. They're not Kubota. But still a pretty good tractor. I still have no real issues with the tractor itself. Just with their dealership network and their potential part supply issues that I will be trying to figure out. So anyway, like I'm saying, Mower Zone in Danville, Indiana, which is about 60 miles straight east of me, I have learned has went out of business. So, because of that, I have had to go back to LS's website and try to locate other dealerships within a reasonable amount of range from my home location. I have found 2 others. One is just a little over, about 65 mile from my home location. So it's about an hour and a half-ish, depending on traffic and what route I take. Down near, I think just north of Evansville, Indiana, a town called Elliotsville. I had family that lived in that area. Been there a couple times, but it's been a long time. And then there's another dealership about 80 mile. So you're still talking about an hour and a half, a little over, pushing 2, in southern Illinois. There's a town called St. Elmo. But anyway, I have to verify that those 2 dealerships are still in those locations and are a viable option to go to for parts and or service, because and service I mean by warranty service. I've had this tractor just a little over a year and a half. March will be officially 2 years of 2026. So I still have a good 4 years of warranty for the engine and drivetrain stuff, transmission. The loader, this LL5106 loader, only had a year warranty on it. Their other warranty was a 2-year coverage on the other things. Well, that expires in March of 2026. So, but still, I need to know where I can go to get warranty work done at least for the next 4 more years if I need. So far, yep, knock on wood, I have not needed any warranty work done on this tractor. It's just minor service. Now, I'll do what I can for the most part to keep my tractors going. But one thing I'm discovering an issue with this tractor. I know, I'm whining. Yeah, I know. A lot of you are going to say he bought an inferior product, a bad product, whatever. But it's locating filters. I went to the Napa filter cross-reference they have on their website. And I cannot find the filters that Napa sells, the Napa Gold Series. Well, I really like those filters. We'll cross-reference over to what the LS part numbers are for their oil, hydraulic, and fuel filters on this tractor. And probably the air filter too. I went to Wix Filters website, same result. I went to Baldwin's filter cross-reference website, same end result. So, if anybody has a model of the MT4 series and knows what the compatible number is for Napa, Baldwin, Wix filters are for the tractor, I'd appreciate that down in the comments. I know, tales of woes. But anyway, that's kind of where I'm at with that. And I have killed almost 10-12 minutes of your time of me whining and moaning around here, but I appreciate you listening. If you have any viable pass on information, I'd greatly appreciate it. And I'll show you something else I'm trying out this year. And be right back. Alright, YouTubers, on to something else. Now, as many may have already realized, it's a primitive setup down here at the horse barn for the wife staying horse. By primitive, I mean no electricity, no well pump, running lines, stuff like that. So wintertime is a chore to make sure the wife's staying horse has water. So this year we're trying something else. Totally different method of madness. Now I've seen some of you folks do something like this on your YouTube channels that I've watched in research. Maybe it's not on this particular type of scale, or maybe bigger scale. Anyway, here's what we're doing. Alright, we've taken away the 200-gallon metal water tank. We're still using the sump pump in the well to pump the water. It's got to plug a generator into the cord. And what we've got is about a 20-gallon mineral tub. It's about 22 inches of diameter and probably a good 24 inches tall. And we have put it in a pair of tires off of a tractor. And curious minds, if you really want to know, tires fit a 24-inch rimmed tractor rim. So, well, in addition to doing that, we have stuffed straw in the tires. There's two of them. One on the ground, one up. We're going to try and see how this works out this year. Now, another thing the wife has tried to do, she has just recently this week tried to get spray foam down in here and into the tire and see if that helps also. Alright, here we go. Now, today, December 12th, 2026, today's temperature is right around 34 degrees Fahrenheit. And yeah, the water's going to be froze today. But our temps have gotten down into the lower teens. I think we hit some single digits. And the temps have been mid-20s, pushing 30 a few times. And the water has had about a quarter inch thick layer of ice on it, which you just, horse can lick his way through it, or we can just grab a post and pop it and open it up so you can get into it. But so far, been a pretty good idea. But we'll see how the winter goes. I've been posting updates about once a week on my Facebook page for those that are curious and have inquiry minds. But anyway, we'll try that. See how it works. Hang on a minute, we'll wrap this up. Okay, so let's close this thing up, folks. We'll give you a shot of the old 806 sitting here in her slumber here in my little shop, pole barn, garage with all the other vehicles. So anyway, yeah. I know I whined and moaned a little bit too much about my poor LS tractor and the fact that Mower Zone over in Danville, Indiana is permanently closed. Why? I do not know. They did not send any communication of any kind saying they were going out of business, closing or anything. It happens. Could happen to the nearest Case IH John Deere dealer, the Massey Ferguson dealer. It could happen to any dealership out there. And sometimes these trying economic times, it can happen. Just upsetting because it happened to my LS. But anyway, enough whining about that. So there you go. Got me whining about an LS dealership going under that I was dealing with. You got me showing you I call it a science experiment with the wife's dang horse's water tank. And I know somebody asked me about being a little more scientific and wanting the core bucket or the bucket to start with, the bucket that's not got the insulation stuff around it. We've done this for many years, many winters. I already know that mineral tub sitting here without nothing around it, it's gonna freeze. So anyway, we'll see how that works out. I'll try and if I get another video of the LS tractor pushing snow this winter. Yeah, we've had some snow, but not enough to warrant getting the tractor out and piling it up or blowing it off into the field and ditches. But on that note, folks, y'all take care. And if I don't get another video up between now and Christmas, hope you all have a Merry Christmas. And Santa Claus brings you more than a lump of coal. Take care, everybody.